We found this little chest of drawers on the side of the road with a free sticker on. We hauled it into the van, and here she is, ready for her glam up. It's quite a basic small set of drawers. The drawers are wood with dovetail joins and these nice little handles, which I think I'll be keeping. They are a little stiff, as you can tell. So those just need to be waxed, but that's easily fixable. There's no major damage. There's a few bits here which will need fixing, but it seems pretty sturdy. I like the mid-century style legs. Those are quite nice. I think I'll be keeping those. So I've decided to change tact with this one and what I'm going to be doing with it. So I've seen a lot of pictures with the faux bone inlay, and I really want to give it a go. I've got a set of stag drawers, but I wanted to give it a go on a smaller piece before I tried on the bigger piece in case it's an absolute disaster. I'll show you which ones I mean. So I don't know if you can see that, but that sort of like faux bone inlay look. Oh, no. Can you see that? So I'm going to give that a go. I have ordered some stencils, which I have. They are So I've ordered a variety of stencils. Which hopefully will work. So I'm going to paint the piece sage green, I think, if I've got something like that. And then I'm going to stencil on the bone inlay pattern with like a pearlescent paint that I've got. And this is it here, and I found it after doing some research online. And it's got a dabber on it, so I should just be able to dab the stencil, which would work quite nicely, and it's that nice pearlescent white. That should give quite an accurate faux bone inlay look, so we'll see how it goes. And this is the paint that I'm going to be using as the base coat. That's Fusion Mineral Paint in the shade Lichen. So that, with that pearlescent, I think it's going to look really lovely. Right, let's get going. So now that I've cleaned these with grime cutter and I've rinsed it off with some clean water, I'm going to take the handles off the drawers. I'm going to label them 1, 2, 3 so I know where they need to go back into there in the right order. And then I'm going to scuff sand all of that and the front of the drawers ready for paint. And then we're gonna give the faux bone inlay a go. So if you look here, this drawer is starting to crack just along this here. So I'm going to get a syringe, fill it with wood glue, and then stick that together with some wood glue. Right, so this is where we did that wood glue repair. So let's pull away this tape. And as you can see, that's nice and strong now. Let's just sand away that excess glue. This is just 120 grit sandpaper. Those look good now. Then on this one we did the repair here, just where there was a little bit of a gouge out. So again, I'm going to take that 120 grit sandpaper and sand that down. Yep, happy with that. And these ones were fine anyway. Right, so let's check the repair that we did on here as well with the wood glue. Oh, perfect. If you remember, that bit was pulling out. That's great. Just a little bit sanding there as well. Right, I'm happy with all of that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give everything a quick coat of primer, just so there's a nice base for the paint to sit on and even everything out. So normally where there's dovetail joins, which are these here, I would normally tape them off quite carefully so that I could paint the dovetail joins. But with these drawers and with this piece in particular, it's a lot of this chipboard, which is not great quality. It's not bad, but I'm just not gonna, I suppose, take the time and effort to do that on this. I'm just gonna tape it like that and then paint that whole line. Normally when I'm taping the inside of the drawers, I leave a little lip here for the paint. I just find that it's neater, it's a neater finish than trying to get it perfectly on the crease there. Right, so I'm going to be painting everything on this piece. So I'm only just taping off on the inside here. Everything else is going to get a coat of paint. So to do the priming, I'm going to be using the Zinsabin 123. I really like this primer. It's only a tiny bit left in there, but try not to waste it. Make sure when you open a new tin that you give it a really good mix, because there's loads of stuff at the bottom. Right, so just using a high density foam roller. Right, so now that the primer has had a chance to dry, I'm going to go in with 2 coats of the Fusion in the shade Like, and I'm just going to use my new Klingon S50 brush, all the way from America. Thank you, Janelle, you're a star. Right, now I know how much everyone loves a good tape pull. So let's pull some tape. So now I'm going to use the stencil on there. I've already done one to test it works. So I'm just using that to sort of judge halfway. Actually, I've done one already in order to make sure they line up. Yeah, that's good. And then what I am using is this Pearlescent paint dabber. It's got a dabber at the top, but I don't like the way that it's coming out. So I have opened it up and I'm just using one of these little dabbers and getting a tiny bit like that on there, and then using that to dab it on. And that seems to be working quite nicely. Just very lightly doing it, and again not very much on the actual dabber. So this is quite a slow process. It can be quite tedious. But if you try and rush it, then it will go wrong. Now what we'll do is we'll just put another light coat on, just to give it a little bit of texture, just very lightly. It's a little bit of coverage and a little bit of extra texture. To make sure that the design of the stencil is central, I'm just measuring out the width and the length and finding that middle point to position my stencil in, so when I flip it over to do the mirror image, it'll all be symmetrical. Here you can see that I'm using a different paint to the beginning of the video. This is a Pearlescent paint from Inlay, and it pretty much is the same as the one I was using to start off with the dabber, except this one I could get from a store locally and it was probably a bit more cost efficient, so I just ended up using this one for the body of the project, and I think I managed to get most of the draws out of the dabber. To line the drawers with wallpaper, I like to get the rough size that I'm going to need and then cut that out from the roll of paper. Here I'm dry fitting the paper to the drawer, so there's no glue in the drawer yet. I just like to fit my paper in, get the creases along the lines and fold it down so that it fits in nicely to the drawer, so that once I apply my glue it just literally slots in and I press it down to stick it down. It's already been folded and creased where it needs to be for the edges of the drawer. I just find it's a much easier and cleaner process to do it this way. Now that I've got the paper folded to size, I'm using Bunty's decoupage glue, and I just apply that generously to the bottom of the drawer and spread it all out evenly. Then I can just push my paper down into the drawer and flatten it out. As you can see, because all the edges are already folded, I'm not having to do that bit now, that's already done. I'm literally just pushing the paper down, making sure there's no air bubbles and leaving it to dry. Now that it's dried fully, I'm just using a sharp Stanley blade to trim away the excess paper. You do need to wait for it to dry fully though, otherwise the paper will just rip if it's still a bit wet. You won't get a clean straight cut, so leave it as long as possible. And then to seal it all in, I'm using another coat of Bunty's decoupage glue, and again I'll just apply that generously over the dry paper and spread it out evenly, and then generally leave that overnight to dry and wipe away any excess glue that's got onto the side of the drawers. To seal in the piece, I'm using Polyvine Wax Finish varnish, and I apply 2 coats of this, allowing each coat to dry fully. I find with this particular varnish it adds a nice sheen to the piece.
absolutely love how this little piece turned out, and it sold really quickly. If you enjoyed this video, we'd love it if you'd consider subscribing. Give it a like, comment below, share your thoughts. Did I miss any sews? Did I get them all? Consider sharing this video with your friends and family to help our little channel grow. It just helps the YouTube algorithm know that this is a useful video for everyone. Thanks, and see you on the next video. Bye!